Hello and good morning. I'm just checking to make sure, like my very first, um, what do you call it? Messy Bun Manifesting reboot video. Let me fix this. Is coming in hot on all of the channels. Just need to make sure that was happening. I am earbudding it today because I have the windows open. It's so gorgeous, but there's people doing whatever they're doing outside. I want to make sure you can hear me. So I am so excited to be doing this and doing this kind of as the new weekly live stream show because I feel like it just feels more aligned for me. And thusly, that's how I want to show up in the world. That's what I'm teaching. So that's what it feels like. So I'm so grateful. Welcome to the first Messy Bun Manifesting reboot. I haven't done one of these in like, I don't know, since 2019, maybe. So starting this up again, I feel really more it just feels right. So I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that you're watching. I'm Soul Coach Michelle. If you don't know me, welcome to my channel at Soul Coach Studio here on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook and you didn't know I had a YouTube channel, head on over there, give me a subscribe and a like to help. That would just help me immensely, and I would appreciate it lots and lots and lots. So, if you are new to manifesting, that's cool. You can watch some of the previous videos from the older version of this show. Otherwise, just we're going to start right at the beginning today because the title of this particular mini lesson is What is Manifesting? And that's kind of my goal for these. So, I want to use this time weekly to share with you different aspects of manifesting because I think that you know, in the woo-woo community, that there's just this weird compartmentalization. Like your spiritual journey is the crystals are over here, manifesting is here, talking to spirit is here, tapping into your intuition is here. And then quite honestly, that's all bull. Like honestly, it's all the same. Like your spiritual path is all together. And we need to understand that um everything is intertwined, just like the law of oneness our path, what we're doing, moving more and more towards ascending to these higher dimensions and feeling more at peace and in control, and that is in control of self, not in control of other things. Talk about that in a minute, but just more centered and aligned and ascending. Standing as we have more and more of the supportive energy coming in through being in the age of Aquarius as we move into that. Right now, we're in Mercury retrograde. If you're watching this in April, or rather May, oh my gosh, May 2nd of 2023. There's so much energy coming in right now that's just helping that ascension process. And so that's why I thought it was really great to kind of come in and talk about this stuff now and just relaunch this show. So once a week, we'll be here. Usually it'll be on Monday at 11 a.m. Central. And then, of course, it's YouTube. If you're joining on Facebook, but of course, on YouTube, once the live is done, replays abound. And I may turn this into a podcast because there's a little podcast button on the YouTubes, which is awesome. So, so to start, you might see me looking off to the side because I channel notes before we talk. Because that's another thing. I always say I'm the co-creative life coach, but I'm also your friendly neighborhood super woo fourth generation, intuitive medium, long line of Italian folk magic kind of stuff. And so that is all blended together. I do, what do you call it? Conscious channeling, which is like normally you see people like this channeling away. And then that's not how I do it. It's like everybody's kind of in there together. And you might have stuff come through that channel and stuff come through that's me. Like it's more like commentary if it's me. And that'll happen too. So, all that said, if you have questions, please feel free to either put them in the chat. I would prefer it in the comments because I don't know how to get back to the chat after these are done. So if you have questions you would love to see me answer on these mini lessons that are going to be weekly, go ahead and pop them in the comment section. I will come back and make notes so that I can maybe focus an entire show on what it is that you need support in. And I would love to do that because it makes it fun for me and it makes it fun for you and you get what you need. Yay, that's all that matters, right? So today, what is manifesting? Because I think let's start at the beginning. I love, the Do Re Mi song. Let's start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. So, and good morning, Sharon. Hello and welcome. Um, So what is manifest? I want to start with what it's not. Let's start with what it's not because I think there is so much propagation of like misinformation in this zone. Because I've been hanging out in the manifesting like world forever, forever, decades, like decades. Like I was listening to Abraham before she was hip, when she was on cassette tape, like in the 90s. My aunt introduced me into this whole that whole thing. And so, and then I kick it really old school. So, Edgar Casey, which is last like 2 centuries ago. Stuff like this. So long, long time. I am not 2 centuries old. No. But but I've been studying from that era to the modern era, and seeing people teach this. And I think the message has been diluted, which is actually um, part and parcel from the programming that we receive in the world at large, which is we are separate. So I want to kind of come back to the law of oneness, but I want to talk about what manifesting is not, okay, really quickly. Manifesting is not a way of controlling outcomes. So if people are like, I'm trying to manifest that ex boyfriend or girlfriend back to me, mm-mm. That can be an intention, but having that as your outcome, trying to control that outcome, like, you know, um, and I love folk magic because it's a focal point for you to focus on. It's a tool. Um, but like lighting candles and all this kind of stuff, like just the act of lighting a candle that is dressed in a proper oil or something of that nature, that's not going to bring your ex back. Okay. I'm going to get to what will. But this is not a way of controlling outcomes. I don't care what it is you're doing. It's not a way of controlling outcomes. It is not a magical external force that you can bend to your world. Like I've seen posts and articles and things from manifesting teachers that are like, make the universe do what you want. Manipulation is not manifestation, my friends. Manipulation is a low vibrational lack energy. Okay, because let's talk about that for a second. Manipulation is actually when we want something, and instead of doing the work to do the things that we need to do to get the things that we want, whether it be inspired action, whether it be realigning our soul, our mind, energy, vibration, thoughts into alignment with that which we want, instead, we're trying to make and force things to happen by controlling external when this whole process is an internal process. So this is not about some magical external force, whether it be a crystal you shove in your bra, a magic wand you get at the witchy shop, or whatever, some spell or whatever. All that stuff, if you're expecting it to be external, that's like saying, I'm going to get this really awesome $500 hammer from the Home Depot and I'm going to make it build a house for me. Now, let me ask you, if you tell a hammer to build a house, will a house get built? No, my friends, no, it will not. Why? Because you need to be the carpenter who holds the hammer, who hammers the nails to get it all. It's a tool. Okay. So there is no magical thing like in the movies, like in Charmed. I love Charmed, loved The Craft, the old version, not the new one. Loved all Harry Potter, loved all of that. I love that whole Hollywood sparkle they put on things, but that's not how it works. It's mystical, but it's not this magical external thing. There is no like there isn't an external force period that's going to make stuff happen, like, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And it's not an action we turn on and off either. So I've seen also people post things like, what are you manifesting today, or I'm manifesting so hard, like you have manifesting constipation. Okay, like it's not an on or off switch. It's you're always manifesting. That's why some of these concepts I'm going to talk about today are so important. And as we go forward, I'm going to touch on that because there's a lot of stuff to learn if you're kind of like whether you're new or you're returning. But that's what it's not. It's not about anything out here. Manifesting has nothing to do out here. Manifestation is the result in the 3D from the inner work that you do, but the effect of it is not out here. The effect of it is in here. So what is it? So I went to the dictionary and looked it up because, I'm a Virgo and we like that kind of shit. So the definition, I thought it was really, really interesting when you think about it. So the definition in the dictionary is, and I'm just going to read it, an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. That's the first one. The second one is interesting. It kind of like speaks to the subliminal programming. that we have is a symptom or sign of an ailment. And the funny thing was when I first read that before I typed it was a symptom or sign of alignment, which is more attuned to what it really is. So like think of it this way. So in general, to simplify that whole concept, is a manifestation is when a thought becomes a thing. It's really what it is. Now, the thing is, what are you thinking and what will those thoughts become? Okay? Because I think what happens is we go through life and a lot of times we're not really conscious of what we're thinking. We're just thinking. And then we get all upset when shit happens. So, and then we're like, man, the world sucks. Well, maybe our thoughts are kind of poopy. And that's where we need to do the work. So, and being in that space without judging yourself and without being like, man, I suck because my thoughts are poopy. No, just be like, oh, that crappy thing that happened, that must have been what's my thoughts been lately? Get curious instead of judgy. Be like, oh, okay, I need to switch that. So, um, it actually, and the funny thing is, in doing the research around the etymology, right? Etymology is words, entomology is bugs. Very close, two very different meanings. The etymology is like the history of a word. So the history of manifestation is actually, and it's really interesting, is a spiritual concept. It is a spiritual concept that the mainstream has taken into its own. Kind of like abundance, like recently when people start talking about abundance and, in the corporate sense and whatever, and, that kind of thing. So it's a word that came from like a spiritual manifestation where there was kind of like the universe created this thing, like God created the world in 7 days, kind of a thing. He manifests the world or she manifests the world, whatever you believe. Um, and it's kind of come into a more general way of expressing yourself. So it's like right now, the way that we talk about it, whether you're mainstream or you are a spiritual person like me, and it's basically we set a goal or intention, and then bringing that one to fruition. And it also could mean if you are, say, not processing your emotions, like you have a traumatic experience, whether it's a big T trauma or a little T trauma, and we don't process those emotions, they can manifest or create that stuck energy. When we have unprocessed emotions, it's stuck energy in the body, and that can create the ailment that the second definition talks about. So I think a lot of times when we have that happen, we're not really conscious or we don't want to deal with the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and vibration that come with all the stuff. And sometimes we do, but the inner work is making sure whatever it's a big T trauma, a little T trauma, or like whether you're witnessing something, you're personally experiencing something, you've been programmed about things as a child or throughout your life, and then overcoming that programming so that you can get rid of the blocks and manifest the stuff that you want. But all of it, good, bad, ugly, or if you don't want to label it at all, it's all manifestation. You can kind of think of it like breathing. I'm like, that's the example I like to give. So when you think about the process of breathing from a totally physiological standpoint, breathing is both voluntary and involuntary. So, like, say you consciously and intentionally want to take a breath, like when we do meditation, and they say, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. That is voluntary. You are intentionally sending the signals from your brain, having the thought, and then making it happen. You are manifesting a big breath and creating that. Breathing also is involuntary. Like when you go to sleep at night, you don't have to think about your breathing. You just lay down, go to sleep, and when you breathed all night because you wake up in the morning not asphyxiated. So, and throughout the day, I'm sure you're not thinking every single minute, am I breathing? I need to take an inhale. And sometimes, throughout your day, especially if it might be a very stressful day or stuff is going on, we might hold our breath and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I need to take a good breath. Right? That's really kind of how we approach manifesting is more, I'm just going to let it run its course. And when I realize something's going on, it's like, I got to take a breath to kind of release the energy. But what if we were more conscious about our breath? When we think about that manifestation, am I taking a good breath? Because there was a time, back a couple years ago, we were all collectively really stressed about life. And I remember Darren saying to me, you don't breathe like you used to. You hold your breath and there's this tenseness. And ever since then, I've been really conscious of my breathing. Like, especially if I'm feeling tense, stop and do that and recenter self. And that's the same thing with your manifesting. If you're starting to feel like things ain't working out the way that thought they should, or the way that I would like them to, take a breath and refocus your energy. So, you know, when you think about it, manifesting, much like breathing, is both voluntary and involuntary. But the difference is when we breathe consciously, we feel better. When we are understanding that we are manifesting from a conscious place, we feel better. We start noticing more of the manifestations that we are creating. We are creating, not the universe. We're co-creating with the universe, but you are the universe. I'll get to that at the end too. Um, and so thusly, you're creating this experience for yourself. It's like breathing. And when it starts getting like, ah, you got to stop and say, okay, what's going on? Where's my energy? What's going on? Because it really comes down to being in control of your thoughts, your feelings, your energy, and your vibration. Like, I know everybody has this like thing where it's like energy flows where focus goes. Well, what the hell does that mean? What does that really mean? It means you have to understand, where is all this coming from? So, thoughts, feelings, energy, your vibration, all of that. And being in control of that is where the manifesting comes from. The manifesting of the stuff you want. Not being in control about, here, how can I get that person to listen to me? How can I get them to see my resume? How can I get the notice of that person I want to be my next romantic partner? How can I find the money for such and such? All of that is trying to figure it all out here. When it's really like, okay, if I'm focused on all that stuff, that means that my energy and my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions are not really focused on the thing I want. They're really focused on the shit that I don't have. Capiche? Am I getting there? If we are saying things like money, for example, okay? I know, like, there's this thing, and you may have, if you've been hanging around a while, you may have noticed that I really am not pleased with the 555, where you write things like an affirmation. It's like, pick an affirmation that supports what you want and then write it 55 times for 5 days straight. And like, I always joke and say, well, that's just going to manifest you a hand cramp. Because if the rest of your stuff is not aligned, you ain't going to get there, honey, other than a hand cramp. Like, for example, go back to money. So, say our affirmation is, I am financially free. However, your energy, emotions, feelings, thoughts, vibration, all of this is focused on, I don't know if I have enough money to pay my bills this month. Or I don't know if I have enough money. My bank account is never where I want it to be. So I'm just going to write, I am financially free, like 100 times. And maybe by the end of it, the money fairy will pop something. Mm-mm. Because we're hoping an external thing will hear us, will hear our plea, and pop the money in there, even though our vibration, our emotion, our energy, thoughts, all of it are opposite of what you are saying you want. The focus is on the lack of having money in the places you want to have the money, not the fact that you're all good. Right now, there's money in there. May not be as what you want, but there's money in there. So bless that shit. Bless that money. Bless it and say, you know what? I am so grateful. Shift that energy and say, you know what? What do I have? What do I have that I can focus on? There is money in there. And yeah, there's enough to pay the bills. Right now, today, the moment I have, today is the moment I have. If we're worrying about tomorrow, it's not there, right? We're not there yet. Past is gone. Future isn't yet. Right now, I have more than enough to take care of myself. Take that good breath of energy in like that, right? And I know, because I talk about having faith in the universe and the universe having my back. But do I believe it, or am I doing lip service? See? Doing affirmations when your energy and all your other stuff, your vibration, all that business is opposite of what's coming out your mouth. That's where you kind of go, why am I manifesting so much crap when I'm doing my affirmations? Yeah. Well, all that you're doing is saying shit that you think you want when exactly what you really want is to focus on the absence of the thing that you want. And if we're focusing on the absence, because that's where our desire is to focus on the shit instead of the sparkle, we got problems. I mean, it's okay to do that. Don't get me wrong. If that's where you want to sit, more power to you. But from what I'm seeing, people don't want to sit in that space. They want to create things that make them feel good. But here's the kicker, you got to feel good first. You can't wait for something else to make you feel good because when that thing goes away, then you feel like shit again. So, with the money thing, I'm grateful for what I got. I am so grateful. The numbers are in the positive. That's all that really matters, right? So, what has to happen is you got to get control of the one thing you can control, and that's your energy, your thoughts, your vibration, your emotions. The only way to do that is to be in awareness of all of it. So, awareness is really important because it's a very expansive topic that I will do way more about, do more shows on. But being in awareness of what you're feeling without judgment, so there's no blame, no shame, no guilt. So when you start realizing, oh, this man, instead of being like, I'm gonna dwell on the shit and be all upset about not having the $300 for that new pair of shoes that I want, or the $300 for my grocery bill, or the $300 for my rent, or whatever it is. But I'm not focusing what's there. I'm focusing on what's not there. If when you get to a point where you can stop in that moment and say, "Oh, that's where my energy is focused. My mouth is saying this. My energy is doing this. I need to get everything back together. And what does that look like for me? What does it feel like if I am back in alignment?" So awareness leads to alignment if you choose. You can become aware of your misalignment and be like, okay, well, I want to stay here. Otherwise, you can say, you know what, I got to do something. And the difference is usually you stay out of alignment when you become aware, because we throw judgment and guilt and blame and all this crap in there. It's their fault that I'm out of alignment. I am such a piece of garbage because I'm out of alignment. Oh my gosh, I chose this because stop with that business. You are so worthy of so much more. That is such programming. And even when you become aware of you doing that, don't kick yourself again. Just say, well, that's interesting. Maybe I can dig deeper into where that came from and heal that. You can start looking instead of blame, shame, and guilt into curiosity, exploration, understanding, healing. That shifts the energy back into alignment. Okay. And I'll get to all this because those are big concepts that I'm just kind of putting in like tweet format, which is a pain in the butt. But we'll talk more about that in other messy bun manifestings later because I got lots to talk about. I can blah 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 blah. I can talk forever, but I'm trying to do these in little 30-minute bite-sized things. Otherwise, I would be here for days and days and days. But understanding that the basics of manifesting is this. It's not out here. It's not about controlling out here. It is not saying, well, if they would just behave this way, if they would just do what I want them to do, or if they would find the same stuff that I like, that they like it too, I would be happy. Mm-mm. You have to say to yourself, okay, what within this can I find to make myself feel better? And it does, and it cannot come from outside. So I have to choose in the situation what is going to make what and it's not what is going to make me feel better activity wise or what someone else will do or something I'm observing. Maybe the better question is what emotion can I choose to make myself feel better? Because a lot of times people talk about, well, what will make you feel better? And people will say stuff like, I want an ice cream cone or $20 more dollars or $100 more dollars or if that person loved me more or if that person just would tell me what's going on so that I can fix it. That's none of that. None of that is manifestation. That is all trying to control outcomes. So the better question than what can you do that's in your control to make yourself feel better? Because our immediate reaction as human beings is, what can I do? Like physically, what can I go out and do? Or what can I make somebody else do or encourage somebody else to do so that I can feel better? Mm-mm. So the better question is, and I'll leave this with you today, the better question, and these might be journal questions. This might be something you write at the top of your journal page when you're feeling kind of poo poo and say, what emotion right now? What am I feeling? Why am I choosing to feel that? Because it's a choice, right? Why am I choosing to feel that? Um, and you might have a lot to write on that. And then the next one might be, what emotion what can I choose that would make me feel better? Not what can I do to make me feel better? What emotion can I choose to reach for, to embrace, to bring into my energy that will make me feel better? And then what can I do within my control to bring forth that emotion? That might be where you start. You start, what do I want to feel? What emotion do I want to reach for? What are some things I can do that don't involve anybody else, just you, that I can do for myself that would bring forth that emotion? It might be I sit and meditate. I sit and listen to my insight timer, my favorite meditations on there. It might be I go outside and garden. It might be I cozy up with a robe and I watch my favorite Avengers movie. It might be I have a cup of tea. It might be I soak my feet. It might be what other kind of thing that would elicit that better feeling emotion. Some people I might go be creative and paint. And I know that's very contrary to our programming in this lifetime, which is, oh, just suck it up. Mm-mm. Do the things you need to do to nourish yourself, nurture yourself, all of that, because that's where the manifestations come from. Because we're not really seeking the things, we're not seeking the new car or the new house. We're seeking the feeling of where and what emotion am I looking for that would make me feel better? Do that, and then the thing that's attached to it for you shows up. That's manifesting. It's all in here. There's no wand. I mean, you can go up a whole cup size shoving crystals in your bra if you want, and spending a lot of money on crystals and a lot of money on bras, and get bruised boobies or whatever. If that's your jam, you can totally do that. But the fact is, again, no external thing. And do they have energy? Yes, but they are tools. Tools. You don't get a broken ankle, take an aspirin to take the swelling down, and then keep walking on your broken ankle, expecting it to heal, and 4 hours later, wondering why it hurts more than when you started, because you're not using the tool properly. Mm, okay. So that is, let me just double check, make sure. So to circle back, 24/7, just like breathing, you're manifesting all the time. People say when you go to sleep, you're not manifesting. That's not true. When you're sleeping, you're still manifesting. The interesting part of sleeping is your resistance drops. We'll even get into resistance and what all that is and what that really is in future episodes. But that's the difference. Like people will say, "Oh, well, you don't manifest when you're sleeping." Well, that's not true. Um, you just stop resisting. Which is why when Abraham talks about if you feel uber amounts of resistance, go take a nap. It's because then you'll stop. You'll stop and stop your resistance. Which sometimes your resistance keeps you from napping, but I digress. Again, we'll talk about that in another episode. But, anyways, so the big things, the big takeaways are manifesting is not controlling the outside world. The manifesting actually is being in control of your energy, your vibration, your thoughts, your feelings, and how you are interacting with them by being judgy, by being curious, like, and the curiosity and being in that awareness, and curiosity and experimentation and wonderment leads to back to alignment, which is what we want. And then, you know, we're always manifesting 24/7 all the time, just like breathing. So again, I want to invite you, if you're just logged in, you can watch the replay, but because I gave some journal prompts here. But if you have questions about manifesting, questions you want to send me via email, in the comments below, whatever, I welcome them because I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about eventually. So I would love to talk about the stuff that you want to talk about. Um, Also, another couple of things, little asks for you. If you are new to the channel and you kind of love this stuff, make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you know when I go live and share new videos. Also, if manifesting is your jam, I am a co-creative life coach. And so I do offer one-on-one coaching packages to help you really lock in on a personal level that manifesting jam that might be helpful for you. And if you're more of a group person, I started doing moon circles, and we're doing. If you are watching this in May 2nd of 2023, first moon circle is this Thursday. It's a full flower moon in Scorpio, and happy Buddha Day. So it's Buddha's birthday, yay. And we're going to do a moon circle. To register for that, there's a link below if you want to do a curiosity call. All of the links are all in the blurby thing here on YouTube or on Facebook. So if you want to join the moon circle, I would love to see you there. We're going to do a grounding meditation. We're going to do releasing activities, energy clearing, all the fun stuff, because Scorpio is all about death and rebirth. And we're in that Beltane time, by the way, happy Beltane, of, really kind of getting in touch with what do I want and how do I want to dedicate my energy towards that. And that's, the full moon is about releasing the stuff that doesn't serve any of that. Because you may have noticed that energy that's supporting us right now is very like getting more and more in touch with your authentic self. That's one of the reasons I shifted to this instead of weekly, energy reports. Is this is much more where my sweet spot is, my jam is. And then also the energy is also about like reevaluating what are my goals and intentions? Are they still, now that I'm kind of shifting more towards my authentic me, are these things still aligned with me? And if they are, great, let me double down on them. If they're not, what is? And let me go down that path. And whatever you choose, it's okay. And giving yourself permission to be like, it's all okay. Just allowing yourself to open up in that way and unfold, just like a little blossom coming up in spring, which is what we're experiencing right now. So I hope to see you at our full moon gathering on Thursday. It'll be on Zoom. There is an energetic exchange there, and you'll see that when you go to the link. And we'll be on Zoom at 6 p.m. Central. So it is after work so that we can decompress and have some fun and do some moon stuff. And I want to do it that day. I know the full moon is on Friday, but that's Cinco de Mayo. So people may want to have some margaritas and do their full moon thing on their own. So I want to give you some prepping for the full moon because you're still in that full moon energy with like leading up and then 3 days after. So those are the things I would love to invite you to, is a full moon gathering this week. But if you're watching this later, just click the link. It'll take you to all the events, whether it be a moon gathering or something else that you can come and join in. It's all focused again, based in how we connect manifesting to all other spiritual practices and how those spiritual practices can support your manifesting intentions and things that you want to do in alignment for creating the life you love. Anyway, so I'm a little bit over my 30 minutes, which my 3 minutes. So I hope that's okay with you guys. I want to thank you guys, Sharon, and I'm assuming that's Brad, not Brady, for joining me today, and whoever else is here with us. So much on Facebook. I think you have to allow StreamYard to post your comments or something like that. I can find the instructions to help that, because the only comments I can see right now are from YouTube. So if you want to allow those, and you can chime in even more in the future, that would be great. But anyways, look for us next week. Next week, we're going to be at Monday, which is, I think, the 9th. Could be wrong. Let me check really quick. Next time we do this will be Monday the 8th. My bad. Monday the 8th at 11 a.m. on YouTube, right here at this channel. Same bat time, same bat channel, if you remember that. Anyway, and that's it. So I hope to see you this Thursday at the full flower moon, Scorpio gathering on Zoom. And if you need the link, it's in the blurb. Other than that, I will see you on Monday at 11 a.m. And if you miss these, you can always watch a replay. And I'll put it in a playlist on the main front of the channel. So love you so much. Till next time, I will see you in the vortex. Mwah. Thank you for being with me today, for joining me for this very first reboot show. I appreciate everybody who joined. Love you guys. Bye. Oh, and everybody who watches the replay. I love you guys too. I love everybody. Okay, bye.